Hey there, everybody. Shel Brodnax here with another episode of Stager Talk. And I am super excited today because Melinda Christman and Neal are with me. Welcome, both ladies.
Hi, Shel.
Hi.
So glad to have you. They are with Olive and Opal Interiors. And let everybody know where you're out of, what city and state?
We're in St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri. And
Yeah.
you're award-winning staging, yes?
Yes,
We are,
we're vacant staging team of the year, and Anna was vacant stager of the year.
Yeah, we had
Yes.
last year. Yeah.
Yep.
Very fun to put on your website and social
Yeah.
media, and it was fun.
What's it do to your confidence?
I mean, I think just like having that sort of peer validation is huge, because like there's days when you have like a bit of doubt and you're like, oh, that agent didn't like the way I did that. And you're like, wait a minute, we are award-winning stagers and we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like this is based in strategy, and we did make the right choices there. So like, I think it's great to have that, that confidence boost of like being validated for all of your hard work,
And
especially
in a room full of people that you look
That's
up to and admire and feel, like when we've attended sessions, we're like stealing, best practices from them and implementing them. And then to see it kind of through fruition is really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I couldn't agree more. I think that it's the peer thing for me. It's like, these are your peers. These are your colleagues that are voting on something. And the beauty of it is that they're voting blind. So they're only looking at the photos. They don't know who they're voting for. So it's a really fair process. And so when you make those lists, it's really something to be proud of. And so I'm so glad that it's benefited you guys. So with your brand, you guys are fairly new on the scene. You've been in business for how long now?
6 years.
6 years.
Over 6 years.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing gangbusters. I mean, I've listened to your story in the past. And I'm like, this is amazing. You guys are really just exploded on and with the awards and everything else. And now you're giving back, speaking at RESACON, which is awesome because you're going to talk about all things branding, how to elevate your home staging business and build consumer trust. I think this is such a key component, especially the consumer trust. And I've done a lot of shows now with the speakers for RESACON. And one of the things that's really prevalent this year is really your brand is just not your logo, y'all. I'll tell you that right now. That is not your logo. So many people, that type of branding is old school thinking. This is about how you're working with your clients, about all your standards that you set for your own company, in addition to your aesthetic looks, that is part of your brand. But it's really everything about how you operate.
Yeah, we agree. I think it's something that people that may not be business or marketing minded have a hard time with. I think because a lot of people get into staging because it's a hobby or it's their natural talent. And so pieces like this I think are key for them to hear, because they can change the way they do their business. I mean, it changes it from, look, I have like a few pictures of my hobby thing, to like, oh, this is a professional staging company. I think the way you present yourself can change that in the minds of like real estate agents and consumers both. And if you get that set up early on, I think then you're able to start faster versus having that like, well, I don't have a website, or I don't have, like, if you come out of the gate strong, people don't know any different. They don't know that you're new. Like,
it's setting that expectation that we are a legitimate business. We're
taking this seriously.
We're taking it seriously. You can expect a consistent product. You can expect consistency in all that we are. How we behave, how we show up, what you're going to expect when we come to your property. Really, the brand is all encompassing. And like Melinda said, the earlier you can kind of establish that in your area, the better.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of equate this. I'm sure you guys feel the same way about this. Well, like when I walk into a certain business, any type of business, I have a tendency, I'm a little judgy. I'm not going to lie, just about businesses, not about people, but the business, like why did the business make this decision? So let's just say like a pizza joint. You can open a business and you can have pizza, but you can bake it in a GE oven, or you can have a wood burning fire piece, pizza, brick pizza oven. What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for the GE appliance pizza, or do you want to know for brick oven pizza? It's kind of the same in all types of businesses. It's really about what do you want to be known for? How do you want to represent your business to the public? Because that's what they're going to see. And then that what they're seeing is who's going to be attracted to that. You know what I mean? And so I look at so many places, there's a right way and there's just a wrong way. And from the get-go, you said it perfectly, is that people don't know you're green. You can start out and you can be so green and they do not know. It's like even in horses, if you show up and you've got a nice rig and a beautiful horse and you're dressed out to the nines and you walk out in the rodeo, they don't know you're green or not until you ride, and then they're going to know. But with this, that's the same thing with staging. They don't know you're green until you get there and you're riding with these people as a client, and then they might know you're green if you don't have these procedures in place and your standards.
Well, and I think so much of our business is repeat customers and referral business, and really, getting that relationship initially through branding and through, how you present yourself, how you work, how you behave, really, intensifies the growth because of referrals and repeat business. And it's catalyst to growth.
I would say, to piggyback on that, it's like a lot of our clients are would consider themselves like high end, high producing in our market. And like they have standards. So they don't want to bring forward a vendor or a partner that they don't trust. And the way we're able to help establish that trust is by, our branding, our professionalism, showing up on social media, emails, educating, like all of those pieces do matter. And I think that, at RESACON, you can learn all the nuts and bolts, about the staging part, but this part is also incredibly important, because if you can stage, but you can't talk about why your staging is great or why they should hire you, then you've got a problem, Yeah,
you're dead in the water. I always say the same thing. You'd be the best stager on the planet, but if you can't sell yourself, nobody's going to hire you.
Yeah.
And I like what you said too about the client matching, they're a high-end client. They're going to want a high-end stager. So you're attracting that particular client. But I think a lot of stagers miss the boat because they don't know who their client is. I just talked to Joanna Segoviano, and she was saying what she specializes in. So she knows exactly what it is. I specializes in this particular market, this many square feet within so many miles of this particular area. That's her home, and that's what she focuses on. And when you know what you focus on and want to focus on, and you create your goals around that, that's your strategy. And you're always going to win as long as you know who it is. But I think so many people don't do it, and then they don't invest in their own branding to attract the right client. They are attracting the wrong client.
Yeah.
And we made that mistake early on. I mean, we certainly, in the beginning, when we were trying to find out who we were and what we wanted to be, we're taking on clients that were particularly not great fit for us. And evolving along the way. And that's something that we'll talk about. Your brand can evolve with you, and it can change over time. And as you grow and as you expand your team and who you serve, it can evolve. And we certainly, fell prey to taking every job that came our way, not knowing ourselves and knowing our brand well enough to say, hey, this isn't a great fit, but we'll refer you here. And I think with time, we figured that out.
I think that was pivotal, being able to say, no, this type of project is not for us. These are the ones that we thrive in, and then you can really hone in. So I think it's hard when you come out as a new stager to know what thing you like. So there is probably some experimenting that goes on there, but once you kind of feel out your little niche, like, there's some people that just do occupied, and that's what they enjoy doing. So it's like figuring out the thing that you're the best at and really like focusing in, I think helps you set apart, because there are more people joining the market. We're growing as an industry. And so I think it's important to figure out like, well, what do you do? How are you different in that market? And it's tricky, but it's completely doable. And it helps you understand how to sell to other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think also too with stagers, and in the beginning, one thing I love about this, when I say everybody's giving back and you're sharing your knowledge, the errors that you've made, and we know that people are still going to you're still going to make these errors. But the key when you're coming to learn from people that are professionals that are actually doing this for a living is by learning this, it's going to help you identify things faster. You're still going to take your lumps. You've got to take your lumps, because if you don't take them and you don't get that P to client, you're never going to know, okay, this type of client, when they're saying these things and these, you're going to identify of what it is that you don't want. But I think a lot of times people don't think outside that box to say, wait a minute, I really need to analyze the type of clients that I'm getting, what I do want, what I don't want, so you can attract the ones that you do. They don't think about it, but you do have to have some of the experience. People can tell you all day, don't do this one, don't do this one. You're going to do it. And then you're going to learn from it. Cause sometimes you just need to take take it to the chin and learn, and you're good to go next time. And you'll never make the same mistake again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, I know, we've all been there. It's hard in the beginning to say no to projects, because in that early stage, you don't know when your next one's coming. And so like, we get it. So you just got to get through that quickly to the other side where you know what's a good fit, what's right, and your business is sort of humming along.
Yeah. So are you guys going to go over some tools and services that you can use to create branding, professional branding?
Yeah. And we've done all of our branding in-house. So we're going to focus on, affordable ways that people can either do their own branding, or when to know when not to do your own branding.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, things like websites, social media, logos, like any of those things we're going to kind of touch on and give some advice for everybody, and make sure that everybody knows, what direction to go. I think there's so many online tools now that make this like so easy that I don't think, like, when we've got so many capital expenditures as home stagers starting out, that you should be, spending a ton on branding to someone else when you can have a very professional brand kind of DIY, I would say. And so I think I've got a lot of tips about how to make that happen, because there's DIY branding that's not good, but I do think you can pull off really, really crisp, nice branding that's very professional and could be high end, could be middle of the road, could be whatever your brand is, with some clear advice. So I think that's where we're going to focus a lot of time on, because I think that's the most helpful for people who are like probably investing a lot of money in those first few years. And those are some rough financial years.
Yeah, it is. And we're also going to focus on the brand as the people behind the brand.
Yeah.
You. And helping people understand why it's important to be the face of your brand, why it's important to put yourself out there
And show up.
Yeah, to show up, and then give, tips and tricks how to do that effectively. And, making sure that, you feel confident in putting yourself out there and know what you're talking about. And I don't know, it's a key part that took us, again, a long time to figure out. But people want to see you doing the work. They want to see you behind the scenes. They want to know who you are. And that is all encompassing in that brand and providing legitimacy and all the above.
Today's consumer is very much about authenticity. And so what's important is for them to feel connected to brands, and to do that, like, have to see like who is running it. And so even if you aren't the day-to-day stager, or if you are, it doesn't matter, like, who's running this business, who's in the business. They want to be able to connect on a personal level, and that will allow them to trust it. Like, there's numbers that show that they'll spend more with the brand that they trust. So you're really working on this know, like, trust factor when it comes to like being online and them hearing of your brand. And so I think that, where I see people fall short is when I like look at a stager's portfolio website or their social media, and I can't find them anywhere. I can't find a name anywhere. It could be in any city, like, there's nothing grounding it in like, in humanity. There's beautiful pictures, but like, what's behind it? I don't feel like that connection. And we're all about creating connection. We're stagers, we're creating that emotional connection in a house, but we need to do it with our brand for our target audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I find with this, when the personal relationships, is that when you have a really solid brand and you are part of your brand, and you exude confidence, you have a lot less trouble with people wanting to renegotiate your contract or your fees and all that type of stuff. Some of those problems just really, really shrink down, where you hardly run across them, or they just disappear, because people respect you more. Especially when another mistake stagers make, I'm sure you'll agree with this too, is that they put a bid out and they say, they want the discount, and then they want the job, and then they discount their services. And if we can just get enough people to say no in a different way, we always try never to say no, but say, with this budget for what you want, you know, I don't inflate my prices to negotiate them later, and maybe just stand at that. Or if you need to say something else, I can take away from a little bit if I need to meet a lower budget, or maybe you can add on a little something to sweeten the deal, something that's not expensive to be able to do. And so there's ways with that to be able to communicate when you're negotiating, where just with your own brand, when you're stating your facts about your bids and your services and what you bring to the table, it removes all those objections that they are not even going to have, because they've got no reason to think less of you because you've got so much confidence. And that, I think, takes time.
Yeah. And we'll say, like, we're not the cheapest in our market. We're priced above many of our competitors, and we will still win those bids. And I think we've had situations where, you know, a potential new client will be like, well, I got this competitive bid that was $400 less than yours, or sometimes it's obscenely less. And Stephanie, who manages our client relationship, has like such a great response about the value of what we're bringing to the table, and like doesn't come down on price, and then they still pay it more than the competitor. And it's crazy because my personality struggles with that, because I just want to people please. I'm like, oh, you want less? But like, you need to know where to be confident in your business and where to draw that line. And if it's not you that can make that, like, can do that with customers, then have someone that can. And that's what we've done, because that's important. You know, she's a sales person, you know, she's client relations, but she's also driving sales. And so I think that stuff's really important.
Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to who's paying the bill, it's typically the property owner. But we have agents going to bat for us. And I think that because of the brand awareness and the relationships that we built along the way and the professionalism, they are going to bat for us. Yes, I know you got a cheaper bid, and I know this is a really stressful time and you want to save money and maybe cut corners, but you don't want to do that here. You want to pay for this service. And I think that, you know, it is that brand awareness and those relationships with the agent as well, where they're fighting it for us too. You know, Stephanie can say on the phone all day long, you know, these are our stats and this is why we charge what we charge. And, but the agents, you know, have come to our rescue and winning bids sometimes because we've kind of established that along the way.
It's like an extension of your sales team when you have a good agent relationship.
Yeah, that's key. You know, Tracy Melinda, I don't know if you've been able to look at all the speaker sessions yet at RESACON, but Tracy Melinda is going to teach a class on teaching agents how to sell you to their clients.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's a good one.
She actually, you're going to love this. She actually charges them money for a class to come take a class at her warehouse for her to teach them how to sell her to their clients.
Love it.
Mind blowing, right? I've been trying to get her for years to do this at RESACON, and finally I got her this year. So it's like brilliant stuff. But I think it's true, because they do go to bat for you. And that's the thing where you touched on it earlier. If you've got a high-end agent and they view themselves this way, they are not going to want a low price leader stager. They're just not going to do that, because they know the value of what somebody brings to the table. So you've got to be matched up really well with your client base. I think once you get, another thing is, you don't need 50 clients. You need a small, good, strong base of great clients that are going to use you over and over, and then refer you to other great like-minded clients as well. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm super excited to see your session. We really appreciate you guys doing this and giving of your time to RESACON. Any final words for anybody?
I would just say, if you're on the fence about going to RESACON, because it's an investment, but like, it's an investment in your business, and think about how many of these stagers that are coming like us. We're talking on branding, but there's a loaded stack of speakers talking on all these things that are going to shortcut you to success faster. And I think that, you know, when you go multiple years, you hear different things. Like, you're ready for a different bit of knowledge to sink in on a different level when you are going like a second, third, fourth year, I think. Like, and I think that as you get further in your business, the other thing that becomes more important is like the networking that you get to do with other, you know, staging companies, like some that I'm like, whoa, how can you do that many? Like, it's so cool to have connections like that you can carry on the rest of the year, but being able to face-to-face chat with some people that you really admire and like understand, you know, how their business works. I think that's priceless.
I think so too. I mean, not every major city or, the folks in small towns has a strong local chapter, or they don't, people feel proprietary over their information when it's, you're competing for business in your area. So it is refreshing to go and to be with people all over the country, find people, that are at this, same level of business, same, stage of business, and commiserate together, share ideas, form relationships that last, beyond RESA, and then look up to the people who are maybe that next level up or 2 steps up, and kind of aspire to, okay, when we come back next year, I want to be where they are. And it's really cool to be able to form those relationships that, last, and if you don't have that maybe locally, having that just support from RESA is really amazing.
Yeah. And the networking, there's so many times where I hear feedback afterwards that people go and they're like, I didn't even know X was possible. I didn't even know X was a thing, like a new slant on something, or just a new way to do it, or a new business model, a new viewpoint, new verbiage to use with people. And you just don't know, but you don't know what you don't know. So get off that fence. Like I would say, run to your computer, book that convention ticket, resaconvention.com. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you this summer. For everybody else, this is another episode of Stager Talk. Thank you for joining us. And again, get your ticket today, and we will see you this July. Till next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.